Hare Krishna. So welcome back to 26th Avenue. Matchless Gifts. We're here with Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, His Lotus Feet. And coming here to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So nice. Just cannot extol the glories of this beautiful place enough.
Yeah. And out that window, that's the courtyard. You can't, the apartments are behind that. So Prabhupada would go out the door and like into that courtyard and up to his apartment. You can see through the window, can't you? Alright. Canto 4, Chapter 13, Text 1.
13, starting a new chapter, and
Yes.
the chapter is entitled
Description of the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj.
Okay, so we heard about Dhruva Maharaj. Now we're going to hear about his descendants. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 1. Sutta Goswami, continuing to speak to all the rishis, headed by Shonaka, said, after hearing Maitreya Rishi describe Dhruva Maharaj's ascent to Lord Vishnu's abode, Vidura became very much enlightened in devotional emotion, and he inquired from Maitreya as follows. Purport. As evidenced in the topics between Vidura and Maitreya, the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the devotees are so fascinating that neither the devotee who is describing them nor the devotee who is hearing is at all fatigued by the inquiries and answers. Transcendental subject matter is so nice that no one becomes tired of hearing or speaking. Others who are not devotees may think, how can people devote so much time simply to talks of God? But devotees are never satisfied or satiated in hearing and speaking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead or about His devotees. The more they hear and talk, the more they become enthusiastic to hear. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is simply the repetition of 3 words, Hare Krishna and Rama. But still devotees can go on chanting this Hare Krishna mantra 24 hours a day without feeling fatigued.
Somehow that just stood out. That the devotees can go on chanting 24 hours a day without feeling fatigued. And I just have to say that most japa periods I see around the world whenever I've attended, there's a lot of fatigued.
That's because they're not hearing the holy names and feeling the ecstasy and tasting the rasa.
Exactly, yes.
And also, although this is, I'm not speaking in a way, because this might come across like that, of other people, I'm talking about myself and everyone, but it also is how we approach, like you just used the example of japa, or it could be coming to the morning class or the morning program or anything. It's like, if it's like, oh yeah, anyway, I've got to do it, oh yeah, it's one of the things we do, you know, then we approach it in that mood. But let's say, like, if someone says, hey, you coming to such and such party on Saturday, or look, we're going out to dinner, or going to watch this movie, or we're going to go roller skating, or whatever people do, young people, whatever. But you may make an effort, like, oh yeah, I'm going to go out, oh look, I've got to go be back home at this time, so I'm going to get ready, you know, or maybe a week or 2 before you get your hair done, or you pick an outfit, meaning you prepare, you know. No, you prepare. So in the same way, if it was that important to us, we would prepare. How would we prepare? One thing would be, let me get to bed early so I don't fall asleep in my japa. Don't eat like seconds or third helpings of dinner and eat early in the, you know, like stuff like that, because I'm thinking, yeah, I'm doing this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Like, yeah, in the same way that when I was reading this purport, it said that devotees are never satiated simply like to talk about Krishna and to be with each other. And I was thinking, yeah, the way we can understand that is if we meet up with a friend. You know, you got those people, you know, you can talk to them, have a good old gossip and a good old download. What's going on? What's the lowdown? What's the download? What's going? You know, some people anyway. So I'm saying it's like, so we can imagine that taste and that rasa, and when you look forward to seeing someone and you have a giggle and whatever, in this, you can transfer that's how it can be in Krishna consciousness. It can be that juicy and tasty, as it were.
Question is it? And if it isn't, then why isn't it?
Because you're not prepared. I just said
what are you going to do about it?
You're not focused.
Well, yes and no.
You don't care.
Okay, text number 2, now that your soliloquy is done. Vidura inquired from Maitreya, "O greatly advanced devotee, who were the Prachetas? To which family did they belong? Whose sons were they, and where did they perform the great sacrifices?" Because, remember, Narada Muni went to the kind of court of the Prachetas. They had become kings by that time. Purport. The great Narada's singing in the previous chapter of 3 verses in the sacrificial arena of the Prachetas gave another impetus to Vidura to ask further questions. So this is really the epitome of what I think Bhava Bhakti was just trying to say, or was saying, which is that when we have that eagerness, it's like, Vidura was so tuned in, he just heard mention of the Prachetas. Probably he could go back, it was only mentioned in 1 or 2 verses at the most, inside or at the end of this whole brilliant pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. But immediately Vidura picks up on that, and he's like, well, who were the Prachetas? Why did Narada Muni go, give me more, Aniyor, just so eager to hear. It's incredible, it's wonderful, very inspiring. And the answer to the question is taste for hearing comes from hearing from those who have taste. So taste comes from taste. So like that, yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yes, true. Text 3. Vidura continued, I know that the great sage Narada is the greatest of all devotees. He has compiled the Pancharatrika procedure of devotional service and has directly met the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada. There are 2 different ways of approaching the Supreme Lord. One is called Bhagavat Marg, or the way of Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other is called Pancharatrika Vidhi. Pancharatrika Vidhi is a method of temple worship, and Bhagavat Vidhi is a system of 9 processes which begin with hearing and chanting. The Krishna consciousness movement accepts both processes simultaneously, and thus enables one to make steady progress on the path of realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Pancharatrika Vidhi procedure was first introduced by the great sage Narada, as referred to here by Vidura. So interesting, I seem to not be aware of that.
Aware of what?
That Narada Muni compiled the Pancharatrika procedure of devotional service.
Yeah, he did all that. Pancharatrika Vidhi. Which is interesting because you wouldn't think that, because he's busy flying around extolling the glories of the Lord. But yeah, and these 2 paths, because marg means path, so this Pancharatrika marg or Bhagavat marg, these 2 paths, Srila Jiva Goswami, well, I guess it couldn't have been Jiva Goswami. Maybe it was Prabhupada that coined it, because the analogy is given that it's two rails of like a train. They have trains like 500 years ago?
Yeah.
How long ago did England rule India?
How long ago? India became independent in 1947, I believe.
Something. But they ruled in India for like 200 years or something, wasn't it?
At least.
2 or 3. So, and they built the train infrastructure. Anyway, the analogy given, whether Jiva Goswami says it cites it as important, and Prabhupada says that they're like 2 rails of the same track. So just like a train runs on 2 rails, unless it's a monorail, and it runs on 2 rails, one has the electricity running through it and one doesn't. So Jiva Goswami, Prabhupada, they say that the train runs just like our spiritual life runs on these 2 tracks, the Bhagavat Marg and the Pancharatrika Marg, and both are required. The electricity is running through the Bhagavat Marg, but the Pancharatrika Marg is there specifically to help us to be clean, punctual, to develop attachment for the deity and the service of the deity, which means Krishna directly, because the deity is the Archa-Vigraha form. So both are required to make steady progress in spiritual life. And I was just thinking how wonderful it is that just this morning, we were at the temple by 4 a.m. to wake the deities, offered Mangalarti, then you dress the deities, the Choda deities, small deities. And then literally we did kirtan, worship Prabhupada, heard Bhagavatam class, and then we've come straight over to Matchless Gifts and started reading Bhagavatam. I would say that's pretty nectar, actually. I mean, goodness gracious, we're really doing the best we can to support our spiritual lives, aren't we? Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, text 4.
Text 4. Oh, is it you? Oh, I thought you just spoke. Go on.
I don't mind, you can speak again.
No.
Because I speak too much, as you often tell me. Okay. While all the prachetas were executing religious rituals and sacrificial ceremonies, and thus worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead for his satisfaction, the great sage Narada described the transcendental qualities of Dhruva Maharaj. Purport. Narada Muni is always glorifying the pastimes of the Lord. In this verse we see that not only does he glorify the Lord, but he also likes to glorify the devotees of the Lord. The great sage Narada's mission is to broadcast the devotional service of the Lord. For this purpose, he has compiled the Narada Pancharatra. Yes? A directory of devotional service so that devotees can always take information about how to execute devotional service and thus engage 24 hours a day in performing sacrifices for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Interesting. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has created 4 orders of social life, namely Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is very clearly described how each of the social orders can please the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 18:45, it is stated, Swe swe karamanya birata samsiddhim labhate nara. By executing one's prescribed duties, one can please the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1:2-13, it is also stated, Svanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. The perfection of duty is to see that by discharging one's specific duties, one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Haribol. When the prachetas were performing sacrifices according to this direction, Narada Muni was satisfied to see these activities, and he also wanted to glorify Dhruva Maharaj in that sacrificial arena. So basically, it's kind of, Maitreya is doing a little bit of a recap. But in the process, he's extolling the glories of Narada Muni, reiterating the glories of Dhruva Maharaj. He's talking about the power and potency of hearing about the Lord and hearing about the Lord's devotees. And there was something here. Yeah, I think it was the 4 orders, the 4 social orders. Each one of them can please the Supreme Lord. And we were just talking about this last night, how you have these 4 orders, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And each one of them will function slightly differently. The challenge, I think, in Western culture is often that we try to paint everything and everyone with the same brush. We try to have a one-size-fits-all program, when actually the diversity is so great that there will never be a one-size-fits-all in one sense. So even the application of bhakti, the application of devotional service, will be slightly different for each ashram and also for each varna, like that.
Okay. I used to read this book all the time.
What book?
Narada Pancharatra.
I'm not sure if it was that.
No?
No, you probably used to read the Narada Bhakti Sutra.
True.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on, text 5.
Which actually was one of the books I wanted us to read with the group on WhatsApp.
Oh dear.
But you can't find it on like ebook, which is very strange. I don't know why. I have to check.
Hey, I got it, but it's in a box in England.
Yeah.
Alright, text 5. My dear Brahmana, how did Narada Muni glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what pastimes were described in that meeting? I am very eager to hear of them. Kindly explain fully about that glorification of the Lord. Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is the record of Bhagavatam, topics about the pastimes of the Lord. What Vidura was anxious to hear from Maitreya, we can also hear 5,000 years later, provided we are very eager.
There you go.
And that's the key right there, folks. You have to be eager, otherwise, to be honest with you, we give these books out on the street to any old Tom, Dick and Harry, but that doesn't mean they're actually, I mean, there's benefit, as Prabhupada said, by just touching the books. You get, I believe, a human birth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine the potency of reading the book? Like, speaking and trying to understand it and sharing. You know, I don't think we can actually comprehend what Prabhupada has done here, to be honest with you.
Definitely not. That's so nice. I appreciate that. You would really take it for granted. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think you kind of like have to go to holy places to appreciate sometimes the Lord and devotees. And when I say holy places, it doesn't have to be India, which, you know, can be in New York in the Bowery, basically. Matchless gifts. And when you come and you appreciate, you can see the humble beginnings. And it's even then you may not actually get it, because you can just see, oh, is that where it was? Oh, is that it? You know, there is a certain covering of the Dham, and this is the holy Dham. And so we have to be allowed to, you know, it's like a peeling away of layers. Even when you go to Vrindavan and Mayapur, you can go and have a right rotten time, really.
A right rotten time.
No, you know, it's like, it was so, how was it? It was so hot as mosquitoes, and there's so many people around, and oh, I got a deli belly, and I got this and that. I was going on this yatra, and it was so hot, and oh my Lord. You know, and then some people come back and they're like, I just want to live in the holy Dham, you know, I'm so happy. Like, did we go to the same place? It's like, so even this is a holy Dham, because the lotus feet of a pure devotee were here, subsequently so many other devotees. But you can come here, as it were, and tick it off. I went to Matchless Gifts, but to be able to enter is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you can really appreciate, the point is...
To be able to what is another thing?
To enter.
Enter, yes, thank you.
But I'm saying you can really... The point I'm making is, by being here, I'm not saying I've entered or anything. I've physically entered, but I'm just saying that you're realizing that I don't think we get what Prabhupada has truly done. You know, like Krishna, the demigods, Narada Munis, and, you know, people on such a higher level like that, looking down, and they're like, look at these people. Did they actually get the freebies and the, you know, the 50% coupons off Bhakti and all that Prabhupada has done? You know, he's really put it in such a way, because me or you, whoever, how the hell, I'm sorry, but, you know, how are we like you said, we woke up the deities, Mangal Arati, dress, Guru Puja, we're here. Someone let us in, you know, someone let us in, and obviously on our level it's our spiritual, well, not on our level, but our next in line, meaning connection, is our Guru Maharaj. But because of the mercy of Prabhupada, you know, it's like somehow we've fallen down the rabbit's hole, Alice in Wonderland. I don't know how we got here.
Jai.
Narnia.
Narnia and Alice in Wonderland. Jai Prabhupada.
Yes, indeed.
So please remember how valuable what Srila Prabhupada has given, and become, what did it say, we have to be enthusiastic? Wasn't it enthusiastic?
Yeah.
It wasn't enthusiastic, was it?
Eager.
Eager, was it eager?
Eager.
Eager.
Provided
eager.
we are very eager.
So please become eager, because Rupa Goswami says that there is only one price to pay for pure devotional service, and that is lolyam. One has to have intense greed to obtain it. And believe me, we all know what it means to be greedy, like you were saying. Well, I'm saying we know what it means.
I know what it is to be greedy.
I didn't mean it like that. I mean, because we want things. We'll work hard for things. We'll go to work. I remember how much I used to just work to make money so I could enjoy. But we just have to apply that in Krishna consciousness. So become eager. Work on becoming eager. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.